Let's talk about the establishment. Let's talk about this story from The Hill. So The Hill is described by NewsGuard as an 80 out of 100 in terms of credibility. They don't regularly correct their errors, and they don't disclose their financing, but for the most part, they're a very, very reputable outlet. Fauci bombshell. Not convinced COVID-19 developed naturally outside Wuhan lab. Interesting. I seem to recall a president. What was his name? He was orange. He had the weird hair. Donald Trump, who said they were investigating this theory, and then it was the this one paper of merit and repute that says democracy dies in darkness, that claimed over and over again it was a conspiracy theory, and CNN and Reuters and a bunch of all these other outlets alluded to or insinuated or outright said lab leak is a conspiracy theory. Right-wing media sites, blah, blah, blah. Why? Because Donald Trump said it. It was a story in the Washington Post I remember reading that actually said questions rise about a potential lab leak. There was a story in the Daily Mail which said something similar. And then Donald Trump had to open his mouth, and the media, as we were talking about with Don Lemon, they built themselves off of, I can just imagine it. You're sitting in the editorial meeting. It's like, so it's 9 a.m. and you walk in and there's President Zucker. All right, guys, what's in the news today? Well, we got this interesting story about a potential lab leak, that COVID may have come from a lab. Really? Wow. Now, run with it. That's a huge story. What else we got? Donald Trump said the lab leak. Whoa, stop. He runs out, catches the guy. No, don't run that story. Come back to the meeting. Then go back in. Okay, Donald Trump pushed unhinged conspiracy theory. Roll it. So all of a sudden, stories that were either based in fact, this is the craziest thing. Donald Trump would read the news. You know, Ian Crossland does backflip. Then he'd go out and be like, this guy Ian, you see him? This Ian does a backflip. It's amazing. And they'll be like, Ian does front flip. Trump lies. And you're just like, what is this? That's what they built themselves off of. So now we have Fauci. I think this is his 10th or 12th flip-flop. Fauci has, you could make a video. Someone should do this. If you're listening, someone do this. Take all the video clips of Fauci advocating a position and then put it next to Fauci advocating the opposite position and have him debate himself.
So Louder with Crowder actually did that.
Oh, he did it.
Put it together. Yeah, they put it into a clip. They beat us to it. I know.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, and what's so amazing is that it hasn't just been Fauci. I mean, Kamala Harris was talking about how she wasn't sure whether she would take the vaccine that was developed under Trump. And then they have the audacity to be talking about, we've got these vaccine skeptic people. Oh, really? Really? You spent the last year telling people it would be 5-10 years before we got a vaccine. If it was before then it probably wasn't going to be trustworthy because Trump can't be trusted. Now they want people to completely and totally forget about that and say, you got to go out and you got to get your vaccine. Well,
now they want people to be drunk.
Right,
like, go to the bar and give them free beer, or it's out in front of a 7-Eleven. It's like, okay. I do find it funny that a lot of the people who are opposed to getting the vaccine were Trump supporters or are Trump supporters, and then a lot of the people who are getting it won't give Trump credit for doing the job. To be fair, a lot of people always bring up, you can support them producing a vaccine, but still think it should be a choice, like the doctor should decide.
Yeah, but that's not what they were saying during the campaign. They were saying that Trump was lying to people about getting a vaccine. We were never going to have a vaccine by January of 2021. We had Kamala Harris out there talking about how who knows if it'd be safe. I'm not sure whether I would trust.
And wasn't it Biden too? Like Biden, Kamala, like Cuomo. They had all been like, I don't know. You got to wait for the science. I think a bunch of Democrats came out and said it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I started tweeting that they were anti-vaxxers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but this is essentially all of their positions were dictated by, as you pointed out, what Trump said. If Trump had actually come out and said, you want to know what, vaccines are going to be bad, they would have been telling us we're going to have a vaccine tomorrow. It's going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like, everything that all of their positions were premised on whatever Donald Trump was for. By the way, it's why the Democratic Party has had this bizarre flip-flop on suddenly becoming the party of foreign intervention all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Trump was against foreign interventionism. So now Bill Kristol feels at home in the new Democratic Party.
I gotta give a shout out to the Babylon Bee again, because we have this satirical article. Ingenious move. Trump supports impeachment, forcing Democrats to oppose. Isn't that really what it was?
Again, that seems like insane, but it also hits so close to home.
So this Fauci thing about the lab leak is, in my opinion, it shouldn't be news. Fauci is a very dumb and dangerous person. He was the one who. Hold on, let me slow down. Fauci lied about masks. This is a fact that Fauci has admitted to. That early on he told people not to wear masks. I love this. He then came out later and said, well, we wanted people to not buy the masks so that the medical professionals could have them. Why do medical professionals need masks? Why do the medical professionals need those masks? Anybody?
So they don't breathe pathogens into open wounds while they're doing surgery.
So because of COVID, right?
They don't want to pass disease.
But why do they need more than they already have? Why was it so important that we get all of these masks, not to the people, but to the medical professionals? The insinuation is the medical professionals needed more masks than usual.
Right.
What was happening that was alarming everybody that made us think doctors needed more masks?
This is why I didn't
there was a pandemic.
Yeah.
There was a pandemic going on. Now, how do you prevent the pandemic? You get regular people to wear masks. So if Fauci came out and said, you should all be wearing your masks right away, then the doctors would not have needed so many because people wouldn't be dying in hospitals because they didn't have masks. Fauci admitted he wanted the doctors to have them because he's a moron, because he doesn't understand cause and effect. And now all of these people line up as though his word is gospel. Let me just reiterate that. If from the beginning Fauci said, just wear a mask, the doctors would not have needed as many because there would be less sick people in hospitals. He lied, people died, and it contributed to the overwhelming of the system. This guy is a moron who thinks he's smart, and all he does is he repeats what the news said, but 2 days later. I've made that point since the mask thing reversal happened. I was like, is this guy just coming out and repeating what he saw on CNN 2 days ago? And now here we are again. We have this story about Fauci saying, I'm not convinced the virus, originated naturally. Oh, is it because the news broke in the past few months that lab leak was a real potential and now Fauci flip-flops again? My absolute favorite. Fauci is on a show and he gets asked, should people wear two masks? And he goes, it's just common sense that if you want to layer and you have to, it would provide more protection. Then he goes on another show. There's no data suggesting 2 masks is better and it is not being recommended. And then a few days, like 10 days later, the CDC recommends 2 masks. The dude is so dumb. He is on every side of the debate and he is responsible for many people in cities being dead because he said don't wear masks for a stupid reason.
Well, and by the way, look, it's not just around masks that people ignored the science, that Fauci and our overlords ignored the science. I mean, from the very beginning, we knew that the survivability rate from COVID was incredibly high, that people who were the most at risk were the elderly and people who had multiple comorbidities. From the very beginning, our effort should have been to protect those people.
What did Cuomo do?
He put those people in the worst situation possible. Said, "Hey, sick. Let's shove them back into rest homes, and we'll get other people sick, and more people will die."
We had Janice Dean on.
Oh, she's so good.
But you know about her in-laws.
Yeah, she lost both of her in-laws
because I'm just going to say Cuomo murdered those people.
Yep.
He was advised this would kill people. He had the option to use the Javits Center or what was it, the Mercy?
Yep.
That he didn't do it. Because he didn't want to help Trump.
Of course, absolutely. New York was struggling, and Trump, being the executive, sent things to New York at the Javits Center, at the with the Mercy that they never used. They didn't, and again, because politics was more important than people's lives.
Doesn't this constitute? There was this Princeton professor years ago said we're in a cold civil war. We refer to it as the culture war, but we refer to it as war because people have, there's Cold War and there's hot war, and people have been killed, and there has been a lot of violence. But we're not at a point where it's like a traditional hot war where there's like armed factions or anything. But maybe it's because we're becoming too blind to what conflict actually looks like. Maybe conflict looks like a governor knowingly putting sick people in nursing homes, killing 15,000 people. Maybe warfare looks like Democrats advocating for the secession of the West Coast. This is John Podesta, reported by the Boston Globe, if Donald Trump wins. Maybe this is the media lying. Maybe this is Fauci flip-flopping. Maybe it is your political leaders willing to let you die for political power. And it's 2 different factions. There's a bunch of smaller sub-factions within the parent factions. Unfortunately for those that oppose the Democrats, the Republicans are mostly a bunch of jellyfish flopping around doing nothing. So instead, we sit here and watch as Cuomo literally, knowingly put sick people in nursing homes, resulting in 15,000 dead. And the dude gets a book deal.
And an Emmy.
And an Emmy.
He won an Emmy.
There's no
killing people.
justice.
No one's. And by the way, like, look, this guy is still, like, first off, what he did with the nursing home scandal is absolutely unbelievable. You'd think that any decent governor would resign. How many women now have come out and claimed
Newsom and Wolf?
Yeah, like there's no accountability. And Democrats learned a long time ago they don't have to be accountable. The media is not going to hold them accountable. So if the media is not going to hold them accountable, why should they bother? Ralph Northam's still the governor of Virginia. He's out there, Terry McAuliffe's out there touting his endorsement, and this is the guy who is either in blackface or in the KKK outfit.
Yeah, which one? I don't think it matters. I think either way the guy's got to get out of there, but they don't care. Yeah, no. Donald Trump. No, he's the racist.
Right, yes. Not the governor who, his nickname in undergrad was Coon Man. That was his nickname, Coon Man. And then, by the way, you remember, after he admitted that it was him, then 24 hours later he came out and said, actually, I thought about it some more. I don't think it actually was me. But there was this other time that I did blackface, but that was just for a party. And I'm like, is this for real? I was like, man, this guy's done. Like, 24 hours.
No. It's tribalism.
Yeah.
It is so deeply tribal that socialists have aligned themselves with the 1%, the wealthy elites, because they hate Donald Trump. It is the most insane thing. I mean, think about it. The Occupy Wall Street people, not all of them because it kind of split, but many of those activists are voting for Joe Biden. I'm like, yo, you guys protested that dude. I was there. I watched you protest that dude. Now you're voting for him.
Yep.
Well, because Trump is worse. What? Didn't you want to, shake the system up and challenge the establishment? Donald Trump is a bull in a china shop. No. Trump is bad. He's a fascist. Whatever, man. It's been absolutely ridiculous for me to see these old activists who protested the 1% supporting, the Lincoln Project, David Frum, Bill Kristol, these Republicans are getting support from socialists.
Well, and by the way,
wonderful.
George W. Bush is now adored by the left and the media. This was Chimpy McHitler, remember?
Yeah.
Like all these people, all these innocent children died in the Middle East because Bush wanted a war for oil. Apparently, that's all's forgiven now. As long as you hate Trump, all is forgiven.
And now, what we're going to get from these. They're I said something about Democrats being dumb on Twitter. There was a story from MSNBC that said the GOP, pushes bill to make teaching the history of slavery, illegal, or to ban the teaching of slavery. And I'm like, clearly, that's not real.
Of course.
The actual story is critical race theory, which is an ideology, which is not fact. And these people watch MSNBC and they believe it. And that's like, the QAnon people believe insane things. I'll tell you, man.
Absolutely.
I remember, every day after the election, I'd have people being like, dude, I'm telling you, it's tomorrow. Tomorrow, come like, where are you at, bro? I'm like, no, it's actually tomorrow. I'm like, oh, yeah, right, it's tomorrow, permanently. But they're not institutional. They don't have massive power. They're not holding up infrastructure. MSNBC is mainstream. They're pumping these people full of insane lies. So it's a good thing their ratings are collapsing. But it still leaves us holding this back. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.